Yes, please. Okay, so welcome. This is episode 41. We took a little
Wow.
hiatus.
We did.
We
It's
took a
been
little
busy,
hiatus.
busy. Ellen's been changing
Well,
up her whole life.
I have, and it's summer,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you're remodeling. You ripped your entire kitchen out,
Oh, it's
which
a yeah. I'm hoping
those
we don't hear
pictures, I'm like, I can't. I'd be
I
like, I mean, considering I'm
it's
like
but you know what?
transient right
Remember
now
one of
anyway.
my yeah, one of my biggest stressors was the dogs because that's just how I
Mhm.
am. And they have adjusted to the back room so well. They actually go back there to chill now, even when they can be in the living room. So that's a good.
Okay, so they're adjusting.
They're out of the kitchen, and I know that your Lulu has had to be elsewhere as well. How
Lulu's
is
at
she
summer
adjusting?
camp. She's
Yeah.
at summer camp, and Annalisa, who is her boarder, and I just want to say something. I found Annalisa through Rover, and she's
Okay.
absolutely fantastic. Okay, she's a vet student. She grooms on the side.
Okay.
So like, but Rover, when you go through Rover, Rover takes 20% of
They
what they
do.
make.
I danced with Rover for a hot minute, and then I got away.
So what I did, and this is short, when I first booked with Annalisa July 1st for Lulu, I only did it for 2 weeks through Rover. And I said to her, when the 2 weeks are over, let's just deal with each other directly. Like you
Smart.
name your price and I'll Venmo you or Zelle you or do
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm pretty
And I
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
So I honestly think she's gonna try to steal Lulu from me because she sends me these texts and she's like, I love her so, so much. She's a bubble bug. We snuggle. I'm like, okay, Annalisa. Put the brakes on, honey. You're not getting my dog.
you're like
So,
all of a sudden I feel like I'm being cheated on.
well, she jumped into her car like a faithless bitch the day that she came
Yeah.
over to pick her up. Because she's had her, she's stayed with Annalisa before. And she got in the car, and I was like, so
Uh-huh.
much for
Uh-huh.
loyalty.
Uh-huh.
Like, you, whatever. Okay.
You
So,
hussy.
you
You
have,
hussy.
well, she must have gotten it from somewhere. So, so today I wanted to talk about, or we wanted to talk about
Mhm.
overthinking and getting out of your own head. And I think this
Mhm.
is really important because I think a lot of people do it. And so every
Mhm.
Monday, Mark Manson, I'm subscribed to his like email newsletter.
Okay.
Every Monday morning, he sends out this email and it starts off with two things for you to think about, and then one thing for you to ask yourself, and one
Mhm.
thing for you to try this week. Okay. So
Oh,
this
okay.
week, yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's nice.
Um, So the two things for you to think about this week were when we lack real problems in our lives, our mind quickly sets out to imagine some.
Hmm.
Okay. But it's the quote that because he always incorporates a quote from somewhere. It's the quote
Okay.
that I really, the quote is great. The quote is, we suffer more from imagination than from reality.
Yes. Yep.
Isn't that good? And it's
Yeah,
so true.
it
It's
is
so
true.
true.
Hmm.
And so he said, one thing for you to ask yourself this week: what problems in your life are potentially imagined?
Hmm.
And one thing for you to try this week: let go of an imagined problem in your life. Let me know what happens.
Oh, I like
So,
his approach. Okay.
oh, he's great. Have you
Yeah.
ever read? I've talked about it before.
You've
Like,
talked about him. I don't know much about him.
he is, well, so he wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is really what
Mhm.
propelled him, made his name known. And
Yeah.
then he also wrote Everything's Fucked Up, a book about hope.
Mm.
So, and then he started this newsletter, but he also has a podcast
Okay.
with the guy. But his approach is great because it's not like a shit ton of psychobabble. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
It's
I do.
super direct and down to earth. Like
Yep.
it makes sense,
Good.
it's not like reading a psychology textbook and being like, I don't know what half of this.
Yeah, and there's too much of that. I mean, if you want that, that's easy enough to find, but there's too much of that out there, right? In my opinion, right now. Yeah.
Right. So he just takes a really kind of like he's having a conversation with you. like a
Mhm.
regular person, right? Like
Mhm.
not as a professional, not as a, I don't even really know what his background is in. I mean, I'm sure if I
That's
could,
great.
yeah, it's got
That's
to be
that I
on
like that.
this book.
Because that
Yeah.
means he's not like, I'm a blah, 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 blah all the time.
And, I like him because he always swears. So, he always tends to incorporate where here and there. But I just think he's great. And it's funny when the only reason I knew about the subtle art, not giving a fuck, was a friend of mine had read it. And she
Mhm.
was so like impressed by it. And it like
Yeah,
spoke to her so much that she bought
yeah.
all of her friends copies.
Oh, that
She
says a
gave us
lot. Not many,
all
there aren't many
copies.
things people do that with anymore. Yeah.
Yep. So that's how I knew, because she like came to my house and she was like, here, you have to read this. And
Okay.
I was like, okay. I'm like, I like the title. So it dragged me in. So the quote about we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Lots of people, I do it myself. I make
Mhm.
a lot of assumptions
Mhm.
about things.
Mhm.
Um, I think I know what someone's thinking,
Mhm.
and I always tend to, go toward the negative,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's another little phrase. It's like something like in your 30s, you worry about people think, in your 40s, you don't care what they think. In your 50s, you realize they were never thinking about you at all.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about that a lot where, you know, the you're not, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but most people, we're not that important. Most people, I mean, most people are so caught up in the same thing that you're describing within yourself, Ellen, that they're not even aware of. They're so concerned about what other people are thinking that they're not even taking a moment to make judgments about you. And that's when, often, and it's incredibly freeing when you say, okay, so this person's behaving this way towards you. And then your
Right.
natural inclination is to internalize and think about what's wrong with me, when actually it's usually just a reflection of their own. 90% of the time, it's a reflection of their own crap.
Okay. So, and so here's like another funny thing that I actually said this to myself one day.
Okay.
Self, when I like make up, when I'm like, oh, this has got to be what's happening. Or, oh God, they're probably thinking this. Or, oh, I know what's happening here. And I said to myself one day, I'm like, Ellen, man, your arrogance is out of fucking control. What makes you think, really, what makes you think
Yeah.
that you're so smart that you know what people are thinking, you know how something's going to turn out,
Mhm.
that that you're putting all the pieces together and coming up with a conclusion, like
Yeah.
I'm some Sherlock Holmes. I was like, wow, I'm arrogant. I'm arrogant. Like I was like,
Well,
you're an intellectual snob, Ellen. Like you really think you've got this all figured out? Like
well,
that's
let
how I
me
felt
ask you
about it.
this, and then I'll give you the other part of it.
Yeah.
Um, when you're doing that the most more off when you're doing that the most, right? Where you're like, this person's thinking this or this person's thinking that, are you, where are you at as a person in your life? What's going on when that part of you is more active?
I'll tell you.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think it comes from, okay, so if you're at a certain low point
Hmm.
because of something else, the ebbs and flows just of life in general.
Hmm.
Um, if something happened, maybe, like it could be something as simple as like something. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example, right?
Hmm.
Like when I was buying my house, the one
Hmm.
that I'm buying, right?
Lots of challenges. Yeah.
And there were lots of challenge, like just surprise challenges at the end
Yep.
there, like unexpected.
Yep.
And I felt like immediate, I was like, this is going to fall through, right? This is going to fall through. What the hell am I going to do? I already sold my house. My dog's boarded, my stuff's in storage. Thank God Peter has the apartment, and that Ian
Yep.
and Gray are fine. And so when I was in that, in that moment of uncertainty and did not know where this was headed,
Hmm.
it tends to affect my entire outlook, right? So then something completely unrelated could be going on.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, it's the same, this isn't going to work out. This isn't going to work out. This is
Mhm.
going to go south.
Mhm.
This is not going to, it's not going to be what I want. Um, it's when you're in those moments of uncertainty. So like
Yeah.
one thing, I mean, think about people who, oh, I don't know, going through a divorce
Mhm.
for whatever reason, but especially a divorce where the one person was unfaithful,
Mhm.
that plummets those people into, a downward spiral of,
Mhm.
where they're already feeling betrayed, their self-esteem's in the basement, right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
they don't you it is impossible almost to drum up any positivity about
Very
other
difficult.
things.
Yeah.
Because then you're
Yeah.
like, well, that didn't work out. Why should anything work out for me?
Yeah.
You kind of take on a
And
victim
it's
complex, right?
realistic to think, let's just put it this way, I mean, if you put on rose colored glasses and you move your head around, everything's going to be rose colored, right? I mean, um, if you put on, the gray, smoky, scary glasses and you look around, everything's going to look at, you're the common denominator, right? So how you're feeling is going to either positively reflect the way you're looking at things, or maybe not so much, depending on where you're at as a human being.
So let me ask you this
Hmm.
from with your professional experience.
Hmm.
We can read the inspirational quotes, and we can coach ourselves, like this is all in my head, I'm making this up, blah, 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 blah. We find ourselves back there time and time again.
Hmm.
How do you stop doing that?
Well, let's just take this concept of negativity uh, or manifesting problems that aren't really there, right? So basically, what that is an extension of anxiety and fear. Because what do we do when we are worried about something bad happening? We prep for it, right? So we're like, oh, there's a storm coming. It's legit. It's on my phone. I can see the tornado warning. It's coming. So then we prep, right? So we
Right.
do the things. But if
We do the thing.
we do the things, we go in the basement, some people are more prepped than others. Some people are like, I just have my to-go bag with some water and whatever. But so, we prep for the thing. But if the tornado is maybe not really there, but you're afraid it might be coming, your hypervigilance and your prep gets more and more activated. And very similar to that quote, if it doesn't have a place to land, like if we have a real tornado coming, I cancel, I don't know this.
Not true,
We're gonna
folks. Nobody freak out. We don't have to.
that's where the focal point is, right? There's the enemy. I understand it. Therefore, I know what comes with preparing for that enemy. However, if there's really no enemy, truly, um, your brain starts searching for the enemy because it has that feeling that it needs to prep, right? I have something inside me that's inordinately making me scared that something's
Mm.
foreboding, so I need to prep. Now, there's a lot of different research studies now that we've had some time from COVID that all the violence that broke out during that time had a lot to do with the fact that we had this enemy we couldn't do anything about.
So
And
you
all
create.
that, yeah. So now we start attacking each other, we start blaming. We need to, if we are afraid of something that has the potential to do us damage, we need a focal point to combat that negativity. If it's not something that can be combated, is that right? Combated?
Yeah.
That's something
That's
that can be, yeah, combated, or it's
yeah.
not something we have the information to properly prep for, that's when we spiral. We are looking, and then it gets bad. Now we're creating stuff, and then we're seeing it everywhere because we can't find the enemy. And when we get in a bad place, 9 out of 10 times, it's an imagined enemy that we've created because it's logistics. If we feel that way, there must be a reason for it, and if there isn't a reason for it, God damn it, I'm going to create one.
So what is it about people? Some people,
Mhm.
not all people. Like I always say, I work better in chaos than calm, right?
Mhm.
Like I would say I'm more focused when there's a ton of stuff going on.
Yep.
And if it's and the thing is I search for calm and peace, but if there's not a lot going on, I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's great. Like I need something. Um,
Yeah.
why? Like why?
Well,
Why? Why would
there's
someone
you mentioned two different things, and they actually so one of the most predominant culturally um, hotspot these days is mindfulness, right?
oh, yeah.
And it's been around forever. It's basically just being in the moment. Even
As long as we've
everything
had
you're,
minds, probably.
yeah. Well, even like when you're talking about, you know, the quote that says we'll create it, or even if you're going to go biblical, God doesn't give you more than you can handle.
Mm,
You know, don't worry about the past, don't worry about the future, be in the present. It's all the same thing. So when you're in a crisis, and this is, and I think I've mentioned this before, it forces you to be present. It
yes.
forces you. And we love that as human
Yeah.
beings. And we lots of people make lots of money on trying to get you to be present, you know, oh, come do my class and all that, right? Because it feels good. That's why babies are so hysterical because they're just present. They're like, look at this. Actually, I have,
Because
look
everything's
at this
new.
boat. Look at this. You should see all the toys on my desk. But
Of course, you have a random goat.
I do. I also have a random squirrel with, I mean, there's this. Oh, did you know I have a little baby pig that's very soft? Okay. So
Very nice.
all these things make me feel very present, but
That's
I'm a very
good.
present person.
Right.
But some people just naturally are not, and it's very, very hard. So when you get in a crisis situation, um, and we might present that as being maybe a negative experience, but it doesn't have to be something that
Doesn't.
positive as long as it's that loud, you know, like for example, a concert, you know, that forces you, you actually have to work hard to not be present in a concert situation, right? If you
Yes.
want to perseverate about your day, you can, but that actually takes work, you know,
Mhm.
a very emotional, wonderful, intense, all sensory, dynamic, positive experience will do the same thing. But we'll say things like, wow, I'm really great in a crisis. But actually, what that means is I'm really good when I'm totally present.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I
So your,
remember. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I was going
Go
to
ahead.
say, so your natural inclination, Ellen, to fill your senses when you're feeling like, oh, I do better work when I'm multitasking or whatever like that, is because think about when you're at a crisis scene, all your sensory inputs are so there's a part of you that's trying to occupy all those sensory inputs so you can be present. So a lot of times when I'm working with folks with ADHD and I make them, we have to bring in all the senses. So I have them suck on a candy. I have them which is kind of like the antithesis is we give you, you know, they give you amphetamines, you know, to calm down your ADHD. It's the same thing. I want to occupy. I make them put their finger underneath when they're reading because that's a visual. We're going to put something in your mouth, white noise in your ears. Let's get all those senses working, and that's what gets you present. So you're trying to combat the distractibility because everybody's like, well, I'm so distracted. Not if you give all those senses a job, then you're not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like when I was going through my divorce,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
took 2.5 years. And at the
Yeah.
same time I was going through my divorce, I was also plaintiff in, a domestic matter.
Hmm.
So there were days in the morning I'd be in matrimonial court, and in the afternoon I'd be in, civil.
Everything was intense. Yes.
Everything was intense. Everything was engaged. It was every day, all the time. It was emails from the attorney. It was calls from the attorney. It was Ellen, I need this document. Ellen, you need to sign this.
Mm-hmm.
Ellen, you need to come to you need to talk to this detective. Ellen, you need to do that. And for a while. And then the divorce settled. Literally,
Hmm.
the divorce settled one day, and the next day was the final, like, criminal thing. It's so
Hmm.
bizarre. And then it was just over. right? It was just over. And I kind of was like, you know, like, what now? You know, I mean, and I remember my friend Kelly at the time, she was like, you were so great for 2.5 years. She's like, why are you falling apart now? And I was like, it's like, first of all, I'm not falling apart, but like, it's
First of all, let's
because
clarify.
let's clarify, not falling apart. But it was almost like it was like, yes, it was like being in a tornado and then it just going dead calm,
Mhm.
nothing to do.
Yeah, you're touching on a bunch of different things. And the other thing is the the human brain actually does best with everything in moderation. So when we have to go from a real high point, think about when you come back from like an amazing vacation where you're like, whoa, this blew my mind way more than I ever thought it would be. And it's so great. And then you come home and it's kind of like there's a little depression after, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just because anything that comes up has to come down, right? And so for you in that moment, you had multiple qualifiers going on there. So you're at your best because number one, you're managing the situation with your divorce. But Ellen, when you give back to people, that is so fulfilling. So then you were able to take that part of you that had struggled and was still healing in itself, and now you're fighting for someone else. Now that's a super high for you. That's
It is
just
a
like
high for
now,
me.
yeah. So
It
that's
is a
not
high.
just like, and I was in this other court case. No, no. This was like you were taking your pain and you were making it productive. And that was that component I don't think should be overlooked at all.
Well, and I'll tell you what, update. Um, you know how at work I'm involved in, like
A
co-lead
group?
like
Yeah.
a DV group, or we call it IPV,
Mhm.
in intimate partner violence, because we had to be careful because some of the women and men who are in it, we didn't want their spouses or partners to see DV because that's more recognizable than IPV.
Sure.
These are the things you have to do, folks.
Hmm.
And so one of the ladies in the group has gotten away from her husband, has gotten a divorce,
Hmm.
has gotten her own place, got out of there, took her son with her, managing the visitation and stuff, which of course, isn't going well because her ex is a, abusive lunatic.
Yep.
But she's out.
She's out.
She's out. And I cried. I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean,
Yep.
I was so proud of her, you
Hmm.
know, and you're so proud of someone when they finally do that. And
Yeah.
then you have to, but see, that's the thing, right? That's the high. You get out, right? You got to keep the ball rolling,
You
right?
gotta.
You got to keep the momentum, which is
Yeah.
getting out is more than half the battle. Keep the momentum. Don't start doubting yourself.
Yeah.
Don't start
That's where
saying, I
you keep
can't do
saying it's
this.
a
I'm by myself.
marathon, not a sprint. It's a
It's not.
marathon. Yeah. Yeah.
But you have to, like, in those situations, keep the momentum going, like, because there's going to be, there's going to be times, when you're out there doing it on your own and you have kids and you're still getting flack, from the asshole, that you start to self-doubt. I'm not gonna be able to do this. How can I do this all by myself? I can't
And
do
then
this on
that,
my
yeah,
own.
and that asshole knows how to push those buttons. So it's, you've got factors working against you on top of it. Yeah.
And I want to be fair, of course, in DV situations, it can be the man who's the abuser or the woman. So
Sure.
asshole applies to males or females in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. It's
Um,
unisex. Yeah.
it's universal. So, but see, that is in that I think, you hear about people who are in recovery from addiction,
Hmm.
and they take their experience and they start leading groups or working with,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because honestly, and we've said this before, your life has to have purpose. You have to give back at some point. You have to support someone at some
Yep.
point. If you go through your entire life not working on, I don't know, helping someone, guiding someone, supporting someone, giving back in some
Yep.
way, at the end of the day, it's
Doesn't
just
you
not going
have
to feel
to?
meaningful. it's not going to feel meaningful. I mean, or if it does feel meaningful to you to not do that, then you're a psychopath and that's a whole other problem.
There's
But
got to be,
like,
and it can, and it can be in other. I also have this, just so you know.
sure. Oh, you're so funny. But you know what is,
Um,
you know what's so great? And this is something, okay, so here's something that
sorry,
thing down.
God.
Here's something. So right now, I am up in Canada at my family cottage,
Yes.
and which is my favorite place on earth,
Mhm.
right? And I've been here for like a solid 2 weeks. Now, the last few years, I haven't been able to come that much because Lulu is not welcome at the cottage.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
oh,
grandma
right. Okay.
doesn't want animals and cats. So that was difficult to do, right? So since she's boarded, I have the freedom to be up here. And this goes back to the thinking thing.
Okay.
It's so simplified up here. It's so simple. Like
Mhm.
it's just, it's the cottage and it's the beach and it's the lake and it's the sky and it's swear to God, I
Yep.
spent 25 minutes the other day laying out on the back lawn watching bees fly from like clover plant to clover plant. And like,
Yeah.
and there were like five of them. And I was watching them. And as I'm watching them, I'm like, these guys really know what they're doing. Like that one flower was already hit. So that guy went up to and just zoomed right away and went to one. I'm like, they are totally like in sync. I was fascinated. I was fascinated. And then there's a
Uh-huh.
groundhog that lives under the shed that just had
Oh,
babies.
they're amazing. Yeah.
I love groundhogs. And there's a groundhog that lives in the shed, just had babies. I gotta send you this picture. And like the mama
You
came
saw
out.
the groundhog babies?
Well, the mama came out and one of the babies came out
Okay.
and they booped noses. And I got a picture.
Oh, and you got the picture?
I got a picture. But like that's what I mean. But simplifying, right? Like I said to myself, Ellen, the way you feel when you are up here, which is like
Mhm.
immediate peace and calm,
Mhm.
right? Because it's so simple. I'm still working from up here, right? Like I'm still working, whatever. I'm like, you need
But
to
isn't
learn
that,
how to
yeah.
take it back with you.
Well, then that's quite a reflection of how much we intentionally or unintentionally complicate our own lives, right? A
We
lot of
do.
it, like I remember when we first got the RV, and like Liz is not one to lie down or rest. She doesn't, but the RV somehow gave her permission because there's nothing else to do.
Right.
You're like, I can go and read a book because what else am I going to do? And then
What else
having
do
to
you do?
take, yeah. And then, there isn't there's always going to be a bazillion things to do, you know? And it's funny, and also in other ways, if everything is already chaotic, sometimes like right now, I'm not cleaning because there's drywall dust everywhere. It's like it's already a shit show. You might
Right.
as well
Right.
just, what are
Why
you gonna
fight
do?
it every day? Like why
Yeah.
fight it every day? So and that's and and like my mom being up here, she only stays on the weekends. She won't stay during the week. Uh,
Oh.
it's so ingrained, like it's so ingrained from when she was working full time. Like she's
Mhm.
still just so um so then she comes up, and I've been here for like 2 weeks and and Peter had a huge party last Saturday. Like I'm glad I was here for it. Um glad I was here for it. But like they weren't out of control, but like an Adirondack deck chair broke. Yeah. But with my mom, everything's a catastrophe, right? Everything. And the next day, like I said to Peter, I'm like, oh God, I gotta tell her about that Adirondack chair. She's I know what her reaction is gonna be. So I told her, I said, one of the Adirondack chairs broke.
Oh
Oh,
no.
good God, for God's sake, Ellen. Oh, you good. I was like, it's a plastic Adirondack chair. They're
Oh, it's not even
14.99.
one of the red, the handmade Amish ones or anything?
And she's like, which one? Which one? Was it one of the ones on the back deck or one of the ones on the front lawn? I said I said it was on the back deck. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, those are the better ones than the ones that were. Why couldn't it have been one? But see, that's where I learned it from.
Yeah.
right? That's where I learned it from. Like my mom is a child of the Depression, right?
Yes. Yes.
Or a child of World War II, and her parents lived
Yes.
through
And that's
it.
real. I
It
mean,
is
that's
like it
real.
is real. It is
Yeah.
very, very real. It is
Mhm.
she I love my mom dearly, but she lives her life waiting for doom to come. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Waiting for like
Well, and if you
the bottom to
analyze
drop.
that, think of the doom that they weren't prepared for.
Exactly. So that's why,
You
oh
know?
my gosh, I was at her house the other day. Like this is classic. This totally speaks to it. My mom's an overthinker. Her brain does not turn off, right?
Mhm.
Ever. And also where I got it from. I was at her house because, I'm in flux. I'm transient right now. And so
Mhm.
I went over to her house to do some laundry. And I'm in the basement. I even took a picture of it. And she has this like metal shelving unit, right?
Mhm.
There was 9 jars of pasta sauce.
Okay.
There were 4 boxes of multi-grain Cheerios, but I would like to add that on the refrigerator upstairs, there was a rain check for multi-grain Cheerios from another store. There must have been 20 boxes of Ziploc bags in
All right.
varying sizes,
Yes.
right? And I'm salad dressing for the rest of the existence of the world. I mean,
I'm
I'm
always
not kidding,
fascinated by, see, this is the part, I know a lot of people that do that. I'm always fascinated on the products chosen. That's always where I'm always
right?
like, yeah, I can
Right.
almost like, I could probably sit down and have a conversation with your mom about her choices, and like she will feel like I intimately know her.
And it was funny because I was telling Mary Lou, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, she's got like 20 boxes of Ziploc bags. She's like, grab me one. She's like, I just ran out. She's like, go shopping at your mom's house. I'm like, but I said, but she'd probably know that it was gone.
But you know what's amazing is the Ziploc bag thing. That those are one of those things we call that's prepping to prep. That's a double because you don't even
Cool.
have anything in them. You're just prepping for the things you might need to put in them.
And I was like, is up. And I said to her, and as both of us are aging together, and we used to butt heads, we had a fucking blowout the other night, but we're okay now. But like, and we used to butt heads like all the time. Now I'm just finding her entertaining. I
Oh
go,
yeah.
so why do you have so many
Yeah.
boxes of Ziploc bags? I go, and some of them are from, some of them are from Aldi, some of them are from a regular brand. I
Now
was
you
like, and they're
guys are like the Golden Girls. You're
like, why so
you're
many? And then the rain check, this made me laugh. I said, Mom, 4 boxes of multigrain Cheerios and a rain check on the refrigerator for more. And like 2 days later, she's like, I threw the rain check out. Happy? I was like, but that goes back to worrying about what people think about you, right?
Ah.
She could have just said to me, I like multigrain Cheerios.
Yeah,
Okay.
but see, her generation too, I mean, well, it's even worse because you grow up in that world, and then on top of it, during your mother's generation, there was so many, not keeping up with the Joneses as much as but
Listen,
presentation, boy, your external presentation was really, you could have a shit show
very
going on
important.
inside, but if you were put together, yeah.
Very important.
Hmm.
Um, but like the overthinking being in my head, you know,
Hmm.
um, it is funny. A lot of that comes from her. And like I had to laugh because okay, well, not that. Wait, so like I told you, a friend of mine from up here passed
Yeah.
at 54.
Yeah.
Um, and my sister and my mom was really upset because she was going on this bus trip that she had scheduled with her friend Judy, and she was upset 'cause she was going to miss the wake and she was going to miss the funeral. And these are longtime people that
Yeah,
we've known.
like you grew up with this. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and she was like, she kept saying it. It's like your sister and you need to represent our family
Oh,
at the funeral. So of course, mom, of course. I'm like, I totally plan on going to the, yeah, absolutely. You need to represent us. She kept saying that. I go, we're not the Windsors. Like it was in like a text. It was like a text thread between like me and my two sisters and my mom. And I was like, I'm like, mom, we're not the friggin' Windsors, okay? And my sister sends like a picture of like King George and like Queen Elizabeth. Like, I was like, and she was like, stop it. Like,
it's like the cottage in the Hamptons you're representing.
but see, because she in her head, right? In her head, everyone take note of this right now.
Mhm.
In her head, she thought the second that that wake happened and was over, and the second that that funeral happened and was over, that people were thinking to themselves, where was Marilyn Parker? Why wasn't Marilyn Parker here?
But more
That's
importantly,
her
people
view on
do.
it.
Yeah, but that's true. And funerals, and you've had some big ones. I've had some big ones. You remember who shows up. You do. It's one of those things, and it's notable the ones that don't. So she's not wrong about that. But I think
But she
more
was thinking
important,
in a total negative way. She's like, what? I know what she was thinking. Why would, they're probably wondering why I'm not there. They're probably like, why wouldn't I go? Like, they're probably
yeah, yeah,
thinking
yeah.
to her, she thinks they're thinking she's a jerk,
Yes, but
right?
that's my point. So the bigger picture being, why does that matter to her? You know, and why? And look, everybody cares to some extent, but if it hurts her brain so much that she needs to reiterate to you guys over and over and over again that you're representing the whole family and everything, then that would be considered something that interferes in her daily life, right? I mean, that gets in her way. So,
Does
what
get
does
in her.
rejection mean to your mother? So, if your mother is socially rejected, you know, what does that mean? Because some people don't really care, and you carry that bug of hers a little bit. It'll get under your skin, and but then you'll grab it and go, I don't know, I was just being super insecure. Where your mom, it just grates at her and grates at her. So, what does it mean for you to be socially rejected?
Well, I mean, I have been throughout my life at different points, middle school, being bullied a little bit, high school. Um, I had a situation in high school where my senior year,
Mhm.
um, and this see that it all wraps in together, right? It all
Mhm.
wraps in together.
Always does. Yeah.
Um, in my senior year, a boy asked me to the prom,
Hmm.
and me being me back then, and even now, was like, okay, well, this is it. No one else is going to ask me, so I should just say yes, right? So I should just say yes. And so I did. And he was the ex-boyfriend, but for a while, of one of the girls on my cheerleading squad. Could it get more
Oh,
fucking high school?
that's about as high school
And
as it gets.
so
Yeah.
and so when I said yes, as friends, like I had known him since sixth grade. He went to middle school with us.
Hmm.
Um, I said yes, and fucking all hell broke loose.
Oh.
All hell broke loose.
Mm.
In the hallway, she made homework, like in
Oh.
the cafeteria. Oh yeah, in the cafeteria, she threw a chair at me,
Oh.
like, oh yeah. Could have taken her with one hand tied behind my back, but I was way
Yeah.
classier than her. Um, and so then so that progressed. Prom came, disaster. And he and I had kind of like dated, and then like I kind of like ended it. I went to college. I was at college for one day, and I got a letter, and it was from all the girls on my cheerleading squad who were friends. And it started with, we don't care. Or no, it starts with, I can't believe I spent the money on the stamp to send this to you.
Oh, wow.
We don't care if you live or die. And it went on and on and on and on. And everyone signed their name.
Wow.
And it all went back to me saying yes to go to the prom with a boy because I didn't think anybody else would ask me because I was insecure.
Yeah. And you see how that linkage, no matter what you do out of fear, it never anything comes good out of it. It just never does.
So, so that,
Yeah,
so I, one day at college, brand new situation, I kept that letter for years.
I bet.
I did.
Hmm.
I kept it for years. Um, but
Are you
it
still
like
friends with any of them?
one of them,
One.
the author of the
Oh,
letter,
really?
really.
Hmm.
The
And
other ones just kept,
how did her life turn out?
I mean, she's doing okay. We're close.
Did she work through all that behavior?
We didn't talk for a number of years. Um,
Hmm.
no, we didn't talk for a number of months. Like
Okay.
I called her right after I got the letter,
Good for you.
and I was like, what the hell? I just and that brief conversation, obviously, and I let it go. I
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I don't know if this is a skill or not.
Yeah.
Pretty good at letting people go out of my life.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit. I think once, I think for you, when something black and white bad has happened, you look at that thing very clearly. When there's a lot of gray in there, it's like, well, this, that, but that's pretty black and white.
Yeah. So then I just let it go. And one night I was at my dorm, still a freshman. I think it was the next semester. It was like spring. And got a call from like, the night desk people. That's how they used to do it, right? You have a visitor, and I went down there and it was her.
Wow.
Mm. So
You know what's
things
interesting?
things
Yeah.
happen, right?
So for me, when I don't know if you remember me in sixth grade or whatever, and
Of course I
but
do. Ultra preppy with your rope bracelet.
yeah, I don't even remember that. But when I started, I was sixth grade was I my way of managing my insecurities was to take control. So
Okay.
if you thought I was weird, I was going to be ultra weird. And if
I was
you
gonna be the
thought,
weirdest.
yeah, and I was, I don't know if you remember, but I had a hat and a cane and I wore ties every day in sixth grade. Do you remember that? Wait,
What?
you don't remember that?
Why would you have
Ellen, I don't know.
Oh,
But
Katie.
I had a trench coat and a cane and a hat. And when I first started, because I had moved from California, I didn't know anybody, right? And I was immediately bullied just because I was new, and I walked in.
Right, sure.
So I just went,
Kids are assholes.
yeah. So I
Kids are
went to
assholes.
the other end of the spectrum, and that got enough attention where people are like, some people are like, that's so strange. That's kind of interesting. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I would take that. So I basically, instead of cowering, I'd get louder. And
Right.
I did that, and I've done that my entire life. Like, you think that's interesting?
Wait until you see this.
Yeah. And I have taught my own kids, when they go through periods where they'd be bullying, I'm like, you know what? Turn up that volume. If that's the thing that they're saying makes you weird, make it real weird. You know?
Make it so
And
weird that they
so
don't even know what to say.
they don't even know what to do with you. And then
They
all
don't
of
know
a
what to
sudden they
do.
want to be around it because what
Yep.
you're exuding is confidence, even if you're terrified. If you're
Yeah.
exuding that, and I was terrified, I was probably one of the most, and people to this day in high school and stuff, they'll be like, you weren't insecure. And I'm like, that I did a damn good job taking care of that button.
People said the
Because
same thing to me. You were so
I
confident in
know
high school. I'm like, all a ruse. It's all a
all the
ruse.
rules. And
It
people
really
would be
was.
like, you're so comfortable on stage. And then I got to the point musically, I was playing at times for, 1,000 people or whatever. That's a form of control. Take me off that stage, and now I've got to talk to everybody individually. You put me on a stage, I could manage all that.
Right. Right.
But it's two sides of the coin.
It is.
And
It is.
and I
Yeah.
remember yeah, I can look back, and you know, how crazy, the more insecure I get, yeah, the more I would up the ante. You know, I started, it doesn't even matter, but I mean, how crazy the ante got, where, you know, we're getting teachers involved and partying with them and stuff like that. I'm just like, let's just see, if I'm this ostracized, let's just see how much I can raise the bar. But it
Yeah.
all, you
You know
know,
what's funny? Like you do sometimes, like, okay, so like when I was in middle school,
mhm.
Denise Turton, Denise Turton was that girl would not leave me alone. And she always had her friends with her,
Uh-huh.
um, I was stuck up, I was a bitch, I was a snob, you know, I didn't even like talk to this chick.
Mhm.
You're a bitch, stuck up bitch. And the one day I was going somewhere with the hall pass and she was coming toward me and she was by herself. I'm like, she
Yeah.
thinks I'm such a bitch. Let's
Yeah.
put it into practice. And I walked up
Yeah.
to her and I walked up to her, I go, leave me the fuck alone.
Good for you.
I said, now that you're not with all of your friends,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not saying anything, you're pretty quiet. Leave me the
Mm-hmm.
fuck alone.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
Mm-hmm.
just don't stop. Don't do it
No.
again. And I mean, she was just looking at me.
Yeah.
And you feel
It's
like
hard to
saying, oh,
teach her.
not so tough now, Denise,
Yeah.
are you?
It's hard to
Like,
teach your kids. One of the things that I taught Jack, Liz taught Jack some more of that. Em was really good at like hiding under, she could go under the radar, even though she didn't kind of like plume her feathers until she got older. But Jack was always, it's just like, oh, honey, just don't.
I know it's
I
so
couldn't teach him.
hard.
But Jack, for I taught him how to, when people would
Uh,
say stuff, for me, because what my go-to before I decided to turn up the weirdness was, I would just go, "Mm." I'd just laugh at people. They'd say something, I go, oh, okay. And then walk away. Be like, that works for you? Well, all right, great, you know? And so I got that one with Jack, but Liz taught him how to, if he had to, especially with boys, just to get right into it. Um, but it's too, and it's people are going to go overconfident. They're going to go show their belly too much, but fear of rejection. Now, some of the theory goes all the way back to caveman stuff, right? Or let's think of, I love the analogy of puppies.
of
So,
course.
right? So you're a puppy and you're born in a pack and you're lucky because you don't have to go find your pack. You're born into it, right?
Right.
But what if all of a sudden the pack just leaves you there alone and you can barely walk and you can't see and you can't do anything, right? You're gonna die, right? I mean, you can't survive without your pack. And if you go into caveman times, when humans, we actually really pulled on the strengths of one another, there were certain female cave women that made babies real easy. They're like, mate with that one, right? There's one, cave man that was really good at hunting big game. He goes after the big ones. We just naturally knew each other's strengths and we brought them together. And if you were ostracized in a group like that, you would die.
Right.
If you were left alone, you know, it's like Survivor, which is now it's so crazy to me that those are the things that, yeah, they let people come together. But Alone and Afraid or something, there's a show like that
Naked
too.
and afraid.
Naked and that's
Who signs
horrible.
up for that?
I don't
Who
know.
signs up for that?
But
I
intrinsically in
mean,
our DNA, we are pack animals, even though we are born one at a time, at the most, if you're
right,
optimal.
right.
But I
Sure.
mean,
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah.
we have to find our pack, and we know that if we don't have that pack, the likelihood of survival is pretty slim. So there are theories that part of that fear of rejection from social groups is the inability to survive without group acceptance. Whether it's true or not, I mean, maybe, but it does seem to be like a universal button.
And the thing is, again, you can tell yourself over and over again, and then you find yourself flipping back to the insecure and the overthinking.
Mhm,
It's so easy to be happy.
mhm.
It's so easy.
It is.
And it's actually so easy to think positively.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to stop your brain from creating the scenarios in your head.
Yeah.
It is easy to do. The mind is an incredibly strong tool. So
Tool. It is.
it is. So as much as you can create a negative scenario, at the same time, you can literally have your other inner voice saying, no, no,
So here's the thing.
right?
And that's why I think the decade of the 50s is the best. Not the decade of the time of the 50s, but the decade of the age of 50s, because I think
Oh,
that
yes.
there's those kinds of things come into play more. But again, going back to caveman stuff, we are motivated by fear. Fear is the easy motivator. It's real easy, right? I'm whatever. I'm fine. I'm gonna smoke and drink and da, 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 and I'm gonna eat Big Macs and da, 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 and all fine and good until I have a heart attack. Now I'm terrified, right? Knock on wood. But
Right.
that so now I change my behavior, right? But this idea of proactive or preventive positivity and all that, we're easily motivated by fear. That's why
Yeah.
like I'm working with a lot of couples right now with infidelity. And the ongoing question is, oh, he's ready to change now, or oh, she's ready to change now. Now he's sorry. Why wasn't he sorry or making the changes I needed back then? Because he got scared. He almost lost you. And
Because he got caught.
yeah,
And he got
well,
scared.
some confessed and came forward and but anyway, but
Mm.
as you get older, you start to realize it is really easy to be preventive and proactive, and you can choose before, because fear comes from things went too far, whatever that looks like. And you can have change that doesn't involve motivation from fear. But
Yeah,
that's
everything.
hard.
That's what I mean. I guess that's what I mean. Like everything doesn't have to be
You're fear-based.
fear-based
Yeah.
or negativity based,
Yeah.
but it's so hard for people to do that. And why is it so hard? Is it because if you're not negative or it's not fear-based, then it doesn't feel like you're working hard enough for it? Like, does it mean if someone who recognizes happiness every day and chooses joy, then that seems like, well, you're just not
Well,
putting in the effort, right? Like
effort. I think complacency is our go-to in this society, kind of. And
but
I
you can
do
be
think
happy
that,
and not complacent.
yeah. And I do think we've got too many um, synthetic dopamine hits, you know, instant gratification dopamine things in our world, whether it's scrolling, whether it's, there's very little things that we have to work at to be satisfied about. And if you look at those things, right, good health, good diet, good financial planning, all those things that require time and effort are faltering in our society these days because there's so many things that just give us that feeling right away.
It's true.
Yeah, you know.
And so and that's another thing about overthinking or creating scenarios in your head or assumptions, which I'm the worst at.
Mhm.
You waste so much time doing that because it's not even what's happening.
I always say it takes up so much real estate in your head, right? It's just
It
like, how
does.
much of that is occupying your brain? I love when I'm working with somebody and
Yeah.
because I do that a lot. Because they've convinced themselves the assumption is the truth, right? So I'll be like, sometimes they'll come to me with the assumption and present it as truth, and then I'll backtrack. Okay, so I'm just saying, did you actually talk to this person? Oh yeah, a couple years ago. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So they'll come to me and sit down and they'll go, well, what would you like to talk about? Well, my ex-boyfriend from a couple years ago, he's super obsessed with me and he just can't turn me loose. And I just think it's this couch that I never came back to him, and I think he gets hyper focused on the couch. And then I dissect it and I'm like, all right, you haven't talked to him in how many years? Okay. And then how long did you break up? Oh, that long ago. And I realized all these things were fabricated, and the fact that you know there was no couch, that he actually, you haven't had a conversation with him or an email in 2 years, all of this is now your reality. And it takes a while sometimes to disentangle the assumptions from the facts. And then when you lay out the facts, it's really simple. You broke up 5 years ago. You have some guilt around that. You have some unresolved feelings, but you haven't talked to him in 5. So everything that you've decided as to why he doesn't interact with you doesn't exist. You know.
Yeah. Like sometimes really you have to check yourself and go,
Yeah.
okay, that sounds a little nutty. Like, come
Yeah.
on, right? I mean, like the day I said to myself, Jesus, Ellen, you're arrogant. You are not that smart and you do not have everything figured out. Like, who the hell
I'm
do
gonna
you
give
think
it,
you
can
are?
I give an example of something that you did with me that like epitomizes this?
Sure.
Okay. It's not bad. You
Okay.
and I
All right.
had a guest on our podcast, and I got a text from you. It basically said, "You guys were really great together. I'll facilitate you guys kind of taking this over." And I was like, "What?" Basically, you had decided in your mind that you really needed to step back, and you didn't even go anywhere. You already went to the point of facilitating the podcast takeover with this guest before even and then I had to, you remember this? And then I had to
Yeah.
back you all the way back to, I'm like, where did this start? Because and you already went into, great. So I'm going to give you each other's phone number. And I think what we can do is the next episode we can start with you two in, and I'll do a gentle handoff. And I'm like, what?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, but there's a good example of, and you know what? For you, that's a very, and for most people, when we do that, no different than me taking control of an audience, that's a very, I'm going to take control of this situation because I feel like I might be getting hurt here. Even that may not be based in fact, but it feels that way. So I'm going to do this, you know?
Oh, I'm famous for that.
Yeah.
You know, like one
Yeah.
of my favorite expressions is quit before you're fired.
Yeah. 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 But it starts with, right, that little twinge of fear of rejection. That's always where it starts. And then it just grows into this brilliant idea that you're going to transform it. In fact, I'm going to have this person shadow me for my job. And then you, no,
It's
I've done
all in
it too.
your head. I know, and it's so crazy. And so there's a good final
Do
thought,
you
right?
remember what I said to you though? I basically said, this is the silliest thing ever. And I just cut right to the chase and I've said, I'm glad this is so important to you. It is to me too. And then, and you're like, okay.
I'm such a child. Oh
No, it
God.
was, it's a huge emotional investment. And you got scared for a little bit because you were like, I might like this too much. It might get taken away. That's,
I also was like, am I doing it justice? Can someone else do a better job? You know, like that, that's
there's
another,
that. And then that's a whole different layer of, yeah.
that's a whole different layer. So I think a
Mhm.
great final thought
Yes. Oh
is,
my gosh, I have an 11 o'clock
and
call. Oh, yeah.
cautionary tale here, folks, take it from me, take it from me. Never act upon something you have created in your own mind.
Yeah. And when you have very,
Never.
very true, because sometimes you'll have people that have their own reaction to that because they're like, what the hell was that? Where did that come from?
Oh yeah.
But I'd say just check yourself. If you're doing something and it happened real fast, I always say we are our own timers.
Pause.
You can
It
pause it.
pause.
You can, you can fast forward, you can rewind it, you can play it all back. Just do some point checks. When did I start to develop this whole separate business that didn't involve me? What happened with, and then back it up and
Yep.
go, oh, I don't really want that. I'm doing that to control this situation or whatever.
Don't act on it. Seriously. And I've
Just,
actually have
just all I know is don't act on it.
don't act on it. And seriously, and like sit down and think about it or walk away from it or distract yourself
Yeah, well, just like,
with something
okay,
else. Like there you go. Distract yourself. Is it a duck? What is it? Aw, how cute.
there's a lot of toys here that they need to
If
go to
you
my office.
feel like you're gonna act on it, watch one of our episodes. There's a good one.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. What are you doing? What'd you get? What's this? Is it a tank?
The tank.
Gosh. I
I
have
have
nothing like
nothing.
that to show.
I have so many toys. And then
I
the
have no
nicest thing, these have all
trinkets.
been, this is what a wonderful, there you go. There's a nice little, when you're wondering how, and you're all caught up in what people think of you, look around and look at the gifts that people give you. These have all been gifts. And if not for
Correct.
nothing, if all these toys are from gifts and people, these are things people want to give me and they think I'll like them, that's a pretty cool. I like
Pretty
that.
cool gift.
Yeah. If people say,
I
hey,
mean,
maybe you like this. Yeah.
yeah, that means they're thinking of you
Yeah.
and
As
in a good
opposed to,
way.
if somebody just gives you a candle that smells like ass, then you're like, well, that's. Remember when Gwyneth Paltrow made that vagina candle?
She's so bizarre. That biography about her is coming out. It's not an autobiography, it's a biography written by
Ooh.
some woman who interviewed like 220 people like in her life. And I don't think it's going to be 100% favorable.
Ah, ah, that makes me want to read it.
Well, because she's just one of the people. Like Gwyneth Paltrow is one of my. She
Yeah, and I
just
think that, all right. Okay, we're out.
we
I
can't
get
get
that's all
started
good
on all that.
topic. All right.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
and we'll
you.
talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I get out of here? Okay, there we
I'm doing
go.
it. I'm doing it.